Hey, it's Mythic Mike. We're going to go through my top 7 favorite cards after playing them in the early access event. Some of the ones that really performed well, some of the cards that I was hoping would perform well did not. So we're going to let you know which ones are still good to go. Before we get into that, I am going to start memberships. It was something I wasn't as interested in. Some people had mentioned it. I'm not really doing this for money, but it would be nice if some money comes in. I do appreciate the support. I'm going to have one tier at $2.99. You might get early access to videos and some things like that. You're also going to get some cool emojis. Let's see if I even have it. Oh, yeah, look like you can do a skeleton. We're going to have an arm. We'll build out more. An Astronaut's Harvester. I love that card. Taking out the trash. So, if you are interested, we are going to have some good stuff. I also have a $250 a month one for you ballers if anyone ever wants to do it, and I will make a deck a month for them or alter their deck and show it on the video. Look, I'm busy. It's just the cost it would take for me to do something like that, or at least be guaranteed to do something like that. So if you're interested, of course, go for it. But honestly, liking and subscribing is more than enough. All right, let's get into it. Oh, I just showed you one I didn't want to show you yet. Warden of the Grove, guys. This is my first one that I think is going to hold up. Of course, green is always a little, on shaky ground. If mono green is good, it'll be completely because of this. And remember, you can always play like Golgari or Gruul, so that I think this card will slot in regardless, even if green doesn't stand up. Although, if you check out my mono green, which I think is a very strong base, I think we have a lot of great tools now. So what this does, right? 3 mana 2/2, but it'll be a 3 mana 3/3 at the turn it enters because it gets a counter every single turn. And then whenever a non-token creature enters, it endures X, which means your new creature will be bigger, or you can choose to make a token instead. And it's the number of counters or the size of the token will be determined by how many counters is on Warden of the Grove, right? So if there's 3 counters on Warden of the Grove, you're buffing your creature +3 forever, or making a 3/3. This is broken. The reason is if they let this go a couple turns, even if they find removal and kill it, the threat is not gone because you have all these tokens or bigger creatures, and that's what makes it different from Hydras before it, because other Hydras, right, you're trying to win off the one Hydra and make it big. They can kill it. They can't kill this. I mean, sure, they could kill it right away, but by the way, we are in green, so we can ramp to this on turn 2. But if this goes a couple turns, it is going to scale with value too much for really any deck to deal with. And yeah, it's going to run away with games, absolutely. My other one, and people have talked about this, right? This is a broken card. But the reason I'm mentioning it now is it does go with Warden. I showed it in my early access video. The reason is Warden, you can put counters on your creatures, or you can make a bunch of token creatures. This has ability which doubles the amount of tokens you create, so that goes great. And then +1 is it makes 2/1/1 soldier creature tokens. 0 is all your creatures get flying and +1/+1 counter. So then they win the game usually that turn. And -3 is you kill one of their creatures. This is great. It's going to be great in a lot of archetypes. I really like it in green because you can ramp to it, and because of Warden. I really do think something's there. But look, this can go in the like Boros tokens thing, right? With what's it called? Whatever. All those little token makers that draw cards and things. It's going to be a great card. Naga, guys, it lived up to the hype. It lived up to the hype. It comes in as a copy of something, but we're not really caring about that. We are going to almost never play it for 4 mana. We are going to mill it or make it discard into our graveyard, which is really easy to do these days. There's so many like discard spells or mill spells. And then we're going to play it back for the renew. 3 mana, turn all our creatures into our best creature, win the game. I showed it in my Insidious Roots. It's not just good in Insidious Roots. It's going to be good in so many things. All your little black mill creatures that got you your Souls of the Lost, which then is like a 8/8. Right? You turn all your little mill creatures into the 8/8 Souls of the Lost with Naga from the graveyard that you milled there with your mill creatures. Easiest deck I've ever made in my life. There's going to be so many things like this, not to mention combos. This enables combos. Guys, this is the real deal. Similarly, I think this is the real deal for sure. This is alternative art, but it's the 2 mana 5/5 demon with trampled and decayed, so it can only attack once and then it dies. But when it is dead, it has the renew, right? So that then you can make opponents' creatures decayed. 3 mana to make one of their creatures decayed, 4 mana to make two of their creatures decayed, and then their creatures can't block, and if they attack and they die. The reason this is awesome is not only in the demons deck where you care about having a 2-drop demon that curves into the 3-drop demon case, but in any, mark my words, any mono black aggro, a 5/5 trample is too good, especially when it has this ability in the bottom. Because think of mono black skeletons, which is my favorite deck. Which if I'm gonna be making a couple great versions right out the gate, guys. So stick around once the set actually releases, which it might already have when you saw this video because it's going to right now. But we're gonna make some skelly decks. This is gonna go in it because what's the worst thing when you have like 3, 2/1 or 3/1 skellies out there? It's they drop a 6/6 demon, or they drop an Atraxa, or they drop some lifelink creature. Well, guess what? Our Rock Curse Rakasha is now in our graveyard after doing 5 damage to them, or a lot of damage to them, and then we just pay 3 mana, make their lifelink creature not be able to block, swing in with our skeletons, win the game, baby. It's that easy. This card is a complete banger. Now, this is the one I'm not as certain about, but it performs so well, and I'm pretty sure it's great. The reason is I showed it in 2 different decks. I showed it in Selesnya and Boros. You can have plot creatures. Plot creatures are already made, so they're not bad to plot them, right? There's the plant that plots, that buffs something when it plots, and then you can play it as a creature the next turn. So you're not losing value usually by plotting creatures. And then you can play the plot creature for free on turn 3 and Sage of the Skies. And this says if you've cast a spell before it, then you make a copy of this Sage of the Sky creature. That's awesome, because now for 3 mana on turn 3, you can pretty easily have 2/2/3 lifelinks, and lifelink is the nuts. Like, if this was First Strike or something, it would be trash. But lifelink is going to carry games, because if you attack in with 2/2/3 lifelinks, guys, that's doing 4 damage and gaining 4 life. That's 8 life swing each pop. People forget about that in racing. I played one game where some guy, I played this and I'd already played a plot creature. So I made 2 of these. He used 2 separate removal spells on them, and I made this from 1 card, right? And then the next turn, I was able to use another plot creature, play another Sage of the Skies, and make 2 more Sage of the Skies, and the guy just resigned, right? And it's really good. Now, I did have a misunderstanding. I put it in my Warden of the Groves deck, which I still think it's good because you can make this come with a bunch of creatures, which is great on Flying Lifelink. But I played it in my Warden and Elspeth deck because this says the copy becomes a token. So when you play this and you've already played a spell, realistically a 2/3 comes in and then a 2/3 token comes in, right? So that sounds like you would double the token because you've made 2 tokens, and this says if a token would be created, you make another one. But apparently there's some rule. I could be wrong, but I googled it and someone told me. I didn't see it, but this, it says it becomes a token. Becoming is not the same as creating. Magic cards, man, make it difficult. So whatever. It doesn't really combo with Elspeth, but it still is very good in that deck. And it still is a very, very nice card, guys. People are still undervaluing this. Busted. Busted. I said I wasn't certain about it, but now I'm talking myself into it. Guys, it's good. It's good. It is just good. All right, Kishla Skimmer, another busted card. I played it in my Insidious Roots deck. Obviously great there. 2 mana, 2/2 flyer, not legendary, uncommon. Those are fine stats, and when any card, not even a creature, leaves your graveyard during your turn, you draw a card. It only happens once each turn. You can easily draw cards the turn it enters, right? There's a bunch of like mana dorks that exile things from your graveyard to pay mana, or there's a million things that get things back from your graveyard, or that right? There's so many things that, like, without losing any ability, without paying any mana, you can exile something from your graveyard. So this can really, really pop off. And there's a lot of graveyard strategies already. Now, I did actually play a no rare Simic where I was just using this as the engine. I played against CGB using his dragons, and I got him down to 2 life, and then he popped off and I lost. So it was unfortunate. But I was playing no rares, and I think this is good enough to build a no rares deck around. We're going to give it a try. But outside of that, I mean, there's just this is good. If you put some rares in, it'll probably be even better usually. Except that deck. I'm gonna make it a baller, no rares deck. You'll see. Um, oh, we'll end on that one. Frontline rush. Look, it's gonna be good and everything. There's like so many go wide strategies. There's a mobilize deck now. Mobilize is a new ability when you attack it with a creature. You make some 1/1s. You'll get into it. But the point is, this makes 2/1/1s at instant speed, which is great rate. And they are goblins if you're playing in goblins. You don't have to play this in goblins. But then the other option is target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. So you attack in with like 6/1/1s. They block 5 of them. You put this on the last one, and it gets +6/+6, right? And usually wins the game. So the fact this is instant speed and you can just play it after blocks are declared makes this probably one of the most busted cards in the whole set. Last but not least, surprising, I am really, really pumped about this card, by the way. I'm really pumped because I hate Omniscience. I hate Omniscience. Omniscience is the trash, people. I'm letting you know. They're the current ones. But they're our enemy. They're the ops, and this is our way to deal with it. There's other ways in white and there's other colors, right? Blue and things. There's ways to deal with it, but in green, you didn't have a way to deal with it. It always hurt. I mean, you had ways to deal with it, but not as much at instant speed. It relied on creatures. You could play like the creatures that could exile things from graveyards, but we know Omniscience can just bounce your stuff. It was annoying. And additionally, there's decks like Golgari that I like to make, and you couldn't. And, it was always annoying to have to fit in some creatures that could exile things from graveyard. But this is the answer, guys, because it's so versatile. 2 mana instant. You can kill an artifact or enchantment, including creatures. That's already fine. Like, that will deal with many of the threats. Temporary lockdown, ghosts. There's so many things, right? But the last one, exile 1 card from a graveyard, draw a card. You can just filter it, which is fine. If you're playing it, by the way, in the budget deck, which I put it with Kishla, you can just exile something from your own graveyard and draw 2 cards, one off this and one off this. And if you played Insidious Roots, which I also did, you can trigger your own Insidious Roots. But, blow out their Oculus, because Oculus is going to make a comeback. Blow out their Omniscience and instant speed. And if not, I mean, look, I'm going to kill. This does everything I want in a card. Like, it messes up their control piles. It messes up their temporary lockdown, their ghosts. This is just the card. I will put 3 of these in every deck until the end of time, until Omniscience is banned. And I think it'll deal with it. I think it'll deal with it. If you can fit green, in any of the, where you can fit green, right? Because some other colors, like I said, have answers. So pretty sick. Now, the one that you might think is missing is Sibsig Ceremony. Which I'll show right here. Look, I'm not gonna lie, I had some trouble with this. We made some interesting progress, but we're not quite there yet. So I would not craft this. This could be a trap because there's not a great death trigger or ETB on an expensive creature in standard right now in Orzhov or black, which is the colors I want to play it. There's some interesting things to do, but a lot of them feel like traps. So we're going to try to break this. We're going to spend probably too much time trying to break this, but it did not work out so far for me. So watch out, unless you want to brew it, craft it, but I wouldn't craft this like day one thinking it's broken. Now, that being said, we're going to remove that. I think these though are the bangers. Like I said, we're going to have some mono blacks. We have a skeleton one, but we have like another mono black that's just going to be busted. I just want to put out 5 mono black decks in a row, but I won't. But I will show restraint. All right, guys. Well, if you want to see some new baller original decks in Tarkir, definitely like and subscribe. You can be a member if you want, but liking and subscribing is great as well. Let's go, baby. Smashing. Let's go.